population exceeding 230 million, has the second largest Muslim population in the world, and also has a very large area, almost 800,000 square kilometers, and has a more than 1,000-kilometer coastline along the Arabian Sea. And as you must have noticed in the video, Pakistan has tremendous tourism opportunities to offer, but also tourism opportunities that go to that appeal to the hearts and minds of our Japanese friends because of the Gandhara relics and the heritage, and we will certainly be sharing more of this with you in order to let you know the tourism opportunities that exist. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the Pakistan's location, the importance of the location cannot be overstated. It is at the cusp of very major, confluence of different very significant regions. Offers a lot to investors and people who choose to do business over there. We offer the shortest land route to China, to to the Arabian Sea, and as you know, Pakistan is also blessed with the biggest deep sea port, which is Gwadar, which has the potential of turning into a great, hub which would outstrip comparable seaports. So, in short, Pakistan has a lot of tourism potential to offer. If there is any more information that you require, we'll be happy to share with you. Now, regarding Pakistan-Japan relations, I honestly don't have the words to adequately describe that. I have a rather long continual association with Japan. This is the third time I'm coming to Japan. I was here in 1989 for a language course, and then I was posted here from 2002 to 5, and now I'm back. So I have studied the relations with as much depth as I could. And I think it's a great relationship, but quite frankly, the true potential of the relationship has not been realized. So my personal effort is to go beyond conversations. Diplomats are word merchants. We like to talk a lot. But now, in this day and age, especially when we deal with young people like yourself, people do not have much patience for empty words. And I think they should be able to relate to what is going on. So I think it's a very important relationship, and but we would certainly like to unlock the true potential by high-level visits and all of that. But before I go any further, I would like to offer and express deepest condolences at the very tragic assassination of the late Prime Minister, Mr. Shinzo Abe. He was a great statesman who steered Japan at a very difficult juncture. I left Japan in 2005 when Mr. Koizumi was still Prime Minister, but I used to read a lot about what was going on. And it was fascinating to see all the efforts made by the great man. So I think all of us owe him this debt of gratitude. So, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I would quickly like to obviously express deepest gratitude to the government of Japan and to the people of Japan for standing firmly with us in the wake of the unprecedentedly devastating floods that hit Pakistan. And a very recent manifestation was Japan's participation in the Geneva conference, where a very generous pledge was of $77 million was made. This was obviously in addition to the assistance already received earlier. But alongside this, it truly warms my heart to observe that our Japanese friends have exhibited a great deal of generosity and concern about the situation in Pakistan. We have received a lot of donations from private individuals and companies who have been kind enough to come and present those. All of those were promptly, deposited in the relief fund, and I was really surprised to see that sometimes we would receive envelopes in mail without any name and containing, a reasonable sum of money. So this shows how warm-hearted Japanese people are, and how much substance they have, and how much they are willing to do without seeking attention and recognition. I think it's a great attribute, and this is something that we truly admire. One of the attributes, of course we admire many attributes, but this is one of them. Our Prime Ministers met in September 2022 on the sidelines of the General Assembly session, and of course the year 2022 marked the 70th anniversary celebrations of establishment of diplomatic relations between Pakistan and Japan, which both sides have marked and celebrated very befittingly. That's also, very heartening. We also appreciate the scholarship opportunities given to Pakistanis by Japan, and now we are also working on, economic and commercial aspects, and let's say supply of skilled workers to Japan, and we are trying to do our part to make people realize the immense potential that exists, and to measure up to the expectations and requirements of Japanese companies. Major companies of Japan are doing successful business in Japan. I also had the pleasure of interacting with some of them, Honda and Toyota, for example. And frankly, if you go to Pakistan, if you see the number of Japanese cars in Pakistan, you would think that maybe Japan and Pakistan are practically neighboring countries, because I think for the average Pakistani, the Japanese automobile is a symbol of durability, excellence, fuel efficiency, and we truly value the investment made, and obviously the social contributions as well. We are also trying to diversify what we export to Japan. We have seen some welcome enhancement in our trade volume. We are also participating in different trade fairs and all of that. And but basically it is work in progress. I don't want to do any chest thumping prematurely. The idea is that every little bit of effort counts, and we intend to, keep on doing that. Collaboration with chambers and many such things. In the IT sector also, there's a huge potential. We are trying to sensitize people back home of the importance of having at least a functional grasp of Japanese to be able to work here. But I can tell you that there's a lot of promise and potential in that. Then I've touched upon the floods. I'm sure you're familiar that the devastation has been truly heartbreaking, and it has been, and in fact it is a great challenge. The deaths, the devastation, the outbreak of diseases, displacement of huge chunks of population, damage to infrastructure in Sindh, in Balochistan, Punjab, practically every part of Pakistan. And in that we have been, the assistance that Japan has given us obviously is truly appreciated. I spoke about manpower, arrival of manpower in Japan, but I must mention a very vibrant Pakistani community that we have in Japan, who have acted as a true bridge. Some of them are also present here. And it is very heartwarming to see how they have established themselves in Japan. They have raised families, they have made good contributions to the economy and to the society. And the language proficiency that I see in Japanese, the Japanese language proficiency that I see in my compatriots is truly amazing, because I did a short course myself, so I know. Nihongo wa seikai de ichiban zukashi kotoba desu. So the way they have managed it, I think it's great. And but this would not have been possible without the kindness and support and hospitality and generosity of the Japanese people. And so I want to emphasize, I want to underline this, that we are truly grateful for that. We don't take it for granted, and we are truly grateful to you. Now, regarding obviously nowadays we live in a very interconnected and interdependent world. It's practically like the human body. So if your tooth is aching, I think the rest of the parts cannot really be at peace. So when we talk about the region, let's say South Asia. South Asia is home to a huge chunk of humanity. If you look at India and Pakistan and other countries in the region. And obviously the region has tremendous potential. But this begs the question, why is true stability, prosperity, peace eluding us? So I think in that regard, it's important to understand that when you have core disputes, like you've seen a short video on Kashmir, and there are a lot of testimonies, of neutral testimonies, not by Pakistanis, by independent human rights observers, of even Indians themselves, who probably their conscience cannot bear it anymore. And it's been almost 4 years. Kashmiris are being held incommunicado. No communication access, not even emergency medical treatment. This is not even denied to the worst criminals. Even if you are on death row and you have a medical problem, you're given medical treatment. And as citizens of Japan, which is a highly advanced, technologically advanced country, you can understand the value of communication. If our Wi-Fi is down for a few seconds, we become very... So imagine the Kashmiris, they've been without any communication facility for almost 4 years. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not simply enough to say that Daijokudes, Indo is very big and, has a lot of commercial importance. And because at the end of the day, even from a purely, clinical investment point of view, you cannot be at ease about making investments in a place which is a potential powder keg. The situation can get out of hand anytime. For how long will people keep on taking it? And it's not just the Kashmiris. In India, now being a Muslim is practically a crime. And don't take my word for it, just Google it. Recently, there was a documentary of BBC and about Mr. Modi, his involvement in the Gujarat massacre, and they made it disappear, but it's there. It's you can watch it for yourself. And so, what I fail to understand is that if being different is a crime, then why doesn't it happen in other parts of the world? Japanese majority are not Muslims, but I don't see anyone discriminating against Muslims, And so basically, living and letting other people live. So Kashmiris are even being denied that, frankly. And but then again, we live in an age where, frankly, things get leaked. It's very difficult to keep a lid on things anymore. So this whole veneer of civility and yoga and the namaste and all of that, yeah, it's very nice. Mr. Modi likes to hug everybody. He was good friends with Mr. Abe also. Becomes everybody's Tomodachi. But the reality is that the human rights situation is very bad. Pakistan is ready to talk. We realize the implications of a conflict between two nuclear-armed countries. But I think the world has to see the situation for what it is and not be driven by political or economic expediency. I think it's important. And we place a lot of faith in our Japanese friends, and I'll tell you why. Because Japan is a highly educated nation. Japan is a great proponent of soft power, of peaceful resolution. I have served in New York, and I've worked closely with the Japanese delegation. They are truly committed to peace. Just see how much Japan has, worked against nuclear weapons and so on and so forth. So in that respect, I think Japan has a lot of weight in these matters. It brings a lot of gravitas to the table. And so objectively, it's not like that, okay, you have some points to score or whatever. But at least the awareness should be there. What is going on? How can this thing get out of hand? And the implications for obviously global peace and stability are horrendous. And we have, and the value of conflict resolution has become all the more pronounced after seeing things like COVID. When COVID hit, I was in Canada at that time, and I was thinking to myself that here we live in a world where countries are spending trillions of dollars on weapons, and they cannot even come up with ventilators and masks, and people were just dying. So it's a great wake-up call. The floods in Pakistan or the tsunamis in Japan and other natural disasters, they are a wake-up call. The climate change is catching up with us. So business as usual is not important. So what I'm saying is that what affects me affects you, and vice versa. We cannot sit and observe uh, whether it's climate change, whether it is disputes between nations and so on and so forth. So I mean I can go on, but to conclude and basically to wrap it up so that we have time for a Q&A. So once again, thank you very much for taking the time, making the effort. We truly appreciate your, gracing us with your presence. And God willing, we will continue this interaction in other settings and frequently, but even individually, feel free to contact us in whatever way we can, be of assistance or answer any queries or whatever. We are at your service. Thank you very much.